Or there's going to be a vote of no confidence. Should she go? You've been wanting her to go.
Well, I lost the vote of no confidence within the Conservative Party. I've accepted that result and I will support the Prime Minister and the government in the vote tomorrow.
So what happens now?
What happens now? Well, the Prime Minister set it out in her statement, which I thought she did extremely well and clearly, that she will consult, she will see what there is support for, and then she'll go back to the EU and say, look, I couldn't get this through, it needs to be changed. What she said in her statement was very sensible.
She clearly still thinks her deal is the basis of any future.
A majority of well over 200 says otherwise.
Joanna Cherry.
Of course she should go. This is the biggest defeat for a British government in modern history. She's made a complete mess of the negotiations. The only thing she's got right is that she's acknowledged she needs to reach out to senior parliamentarians from across the House, but she's not the person to lead now. I think what we need is a temporary executive of unity to go back to the EU to ask for an extension of Article 50, hold a second EU referendum and then revoke Article 50, hopefully in the light of a Remain vote. And she needs to involve the Scots in that. If it wasn't for Scottish parliamentarians, we wouldn't know that the United Kingdom had the right to unilaterally revoke Article 50. She needs to listen to the voice of the devolved administrations, and she needs to acknowledge the fact that the Scottish Parliament has a mandate to hold a second independence referendum.
Sammy Wilson, you now hold this government's future in your hands. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, the government holds its future in its hands. The government has to listen to the message, a very clear message that was given tonight, not just by the opposition parties, but also by a large section of the Conservative Party. And the Prime Minister now needs to go back to Europe and tell Europe, we are not going to roll over any longer. We want a deal which gives us a fair relationship with you in the future, but we are not going to be some footstool for Brussels for the future.
Why are you giving her your confidence tomorrow?
Because
when there is no reason to think she's going to do what you want her to do.
Well, if she doesn't do that, and I mean, we've made it clear all along that if she proceeded with this agreement, which would have destroyed the Union, which would have separated Northern Ireland from the rest of the United Kingdom, which would have damaged us economically by cutting us off from the rest of the United Kingdom, then we would not support her government. But that is no longer going to happen because Parliament has told her she cannot go down that route, and therefore we want to see a Conservative government delivering on its own manifesto and on the result of the referendum. When they do that, they'll have our full backing.
Right, and when none of that works, are you happy to crash out on March the 29th?
Well, if we reach the 29th of March, it is not whether we are happy to crash out or not.
Are you prepared
once we reach the 29th of March, we will not be crashing out. First of all, we will be entering a relationship with the EU based on the same relationship as we have with America and with other countries in the world, a regulated trading regime.
That's just not true.
It is true. It is true.
It's the nonsense that we will be in the same relationship as America. We won't. There are all sorts of bilateral
Channel
deals.
4 may believe that. Channel 4 may believe that, but the truth of the matter...
No, it's a fact. It's not what Channel 4 are saying. Sammy, it's not what Channel 4 are saying. It's a fact. No, it's a fact. And the offer the deal you want from the EU is not on the table. The backstop that you dislike so much is there because of the United Kingdom's international obligations. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. The reality is, it's this deal or Remain. The vote should now go to the people of Britain, and they should get the choice between this pitiful deal that Parliament has voted down and the choice of remaining, and I'm confident that they'll choose to remain. And if they don't, the Scots will be going their separate way.
Well, what does appear to be the case now is that if all of this fails, there will be indicative votes. Parliament will make it clear that no deal is not what Parliament wants. What are you going to do then? What should the government do then?
Well,
just ignore it?
You say that Parliament will say this, but Parliament passed with an overwhelming majority the Article 50 Act to begin a 2-year process, and it passed the Withdrawal Act, both of these in the knowledge that if no deal was agreed, we would leave without a deal.
So an indicative vote should be ignored, is that what you're saying?
An indicative vote cannot challenge the law which was passed by Parliament.
Absolutely, but the question is, should the government respect an indicative vote or not?
No,
you seem to be saying the government should forget it.
The government should respect the law. Parliament has the means to legislate. If it hasn't legislated, the law it passed, the Withdrawal Act was passed in June of last year. Most of the MPs saying we can't leave without a deal actually voted for a law that provides for us to leave without a deal, and not, if I may say so, crashing out, which is a politically prejudicial
Leaving
term.
without a deal.
Yeah, but Channel 4 really
don't.
shouldn't be using these politically charged
Leaving
terms. You're meant to be an
without a deal.
impartial broadcaster.
And we are.
So
I'm
let's
talking
just.
about.
Yeah, but you were saying to Mr. Wilson crashing out, and you really ought not to say that because you're meant to be impartial.
I'm talking to you about whether the government should respect the will of Parliament, and you're saying an indicative vote.
An indicative vote cannot
should be
overturn the law.
ignored.
Absolutely.
It cannot.
The law...
So the government should just ignore it?
For very good reason. The law is hard to change. That's one of the foundation stones of protecting our liberties and our constitutional legal order. So of course the law overrides any individual motion of the House of Commons.
Thank you all very much
The
indeed.
House of Commons can vote to change the law. That's what needs to happen now. You're always going on about how your beloved Parliament is supreme. It's time for it to act, to change the law, to enable us to have a second vote.
The House of Commons cannot change the view of the people of the United Kingdom who voted 2.5 years ago
Not
to leave.
in Scotland.
We
Not
have a
in
date
Northern
for
Ireland
leaving.
either.
We have a date for leaving, and we will leave on the 29th of March.
Northern Ireland
Let's see.
voted to remain.
Let's see. Thank you all very much indeed.